Well, that worked out well. Recording about a dog and a lamp. I appreciate that.
Bottle of water.
Hey, actually, we should say welcome back to you because we recorded some of our best content without your presence.
Of course. Well, that's how it always works, man. Whenever I disappear, the talent level goes up, and you guys are able to actually concentrate and not get sidetracked by my stupidity. So it works out better for everybody.
Yeah, we just glad that we're all back together, and I know you we're dealing with some family stuff, so I'm sure you're glad to be back home and recording with us, fine folk.
Yes, I am, and I'm very much looking forward to sleeping actual like people hours in my own bed tonight at some point. Well, probably tomorrow morning actually is more accurate. But hell, I'm even looking forward to going to work. Is that fucked up or what?
That's sad.
Oh, but yeah, you guys fucking really carried the ball here for me while I was away. Recorded like 18 hours of content.
Yeah, we have to do something. When you're not around, we get like super bored, so we're like, hey, let's just throw down a bunch of different ideas, and then we actually get together and we're like, what are we recording about? I don't know. And you just go lamp, water bottle.
I look too fucking old if I don't have hair, because my beard is you can't really see it too well because of the lighting in here, but my
Ooh, you should
beard
get a wig.
is mostly white and gray now.
That's what you should do. I just rewatched the one episode of The Simpsons where George Bush moves across the street and Bart dumps the wig on him. That's what you should do.
I was thinking about that.
Are there any questions related not pertaining to my hair, which I've already explained?
I could get a rainbow clown, like a rainbow afro wig, and just wear that around. I mean, it's a look.
Yeah, I mean, no one's gonna say anything.
No.
I think you should do it, but then get it cut, like an actual haircut.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just shave, right, and I'll get like that. What is it called? Like spirit glue.
Yeah, spirit glue, or is it spirit gum, or what is that?
Spirit gum.
Yeah.
And I'll just coat my freshly shorn head in spirit gum and stick the wig to it, and then
get the round and peel spray on hair.
Yes.
No, I don't want spray on hair because I want to be able to I want it to be a pompadour.
Now, if you keep spraying in one place, does it just get longer?
More coats, thick coats.
Yeah, isn't it? Do you remember? It was like an episode of Philly's Clubhouse back in like '93 when Larry Anderson was still on the team, and they sprayed his bald spot with, and it was like these little. It was almost like iron shavings.
Yes. I actually weird. I do remember that.
Like, and then they fixed his hairline too, but they put like index cards, so he just had like this like weird arch for a hairline.
So maybe that's the look you need to go for.
Maybe. I mean, maybe that's what the ladies would enjoy. Instead of this little peninsula here that's trying to secede.
But so
great content since this is all visual and
Florida guys are into seceding, so
I
said the Florida guys are into seceding. It'll happen soon anyway.
Well, if we get Texas too, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
Seriously, can we sell Texas?
I don't think anyone's going to buy it.
Could we put it on eBay? Look, I'll trade it for like $5 worth of Taco Bell coupons.
Speaking of weird stuff, sorry, you said something for sale, and I came up. I don't know if I shared it with you guys. I thought I shared it. I know I shared it with Danielle, and I thought someone else. But it was a Zillow ad from Zillow Gone Wild on Twitter.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, some of those are really funny. You got to really kind of comb through them. A lot of them are just like, these elaborate mansions and whatever else. This one was straight up a house that had just like basically burnt down, and the opening picture is a house on fire. Like it's
No, my favorite Zillow ads are the ones where they put where the owner has a sense of humor and they'll have like a guy in a Bigfoot costume just like randomly in one of the pictures, or like Pennywise from It just standing there being all creepy in the background. Um, those are my favorites.
Maybe I'm doing something wrong, but I don't look at Zillow ads, so I don't have a favorite.
Why not? Come on now.
Well, dude, so in my job, everyone is constantly dreaming of getting out of Florida, so they're always looking at houses everywhere but here, and they always end up coming across shit and sending it to me. So, um, so I did think of something I wanted to talk about with you guys, and I tagged you in it on Facebook. I'm super fucking excited about it. I know I've talked about this game a couple times before, but Dokapon Kingdom is coming to the Switch as Dokapon Kingdom Connect or Connected or some shit. Not Connect like Microsoft Connect or Xbox Connect or whatever the shit that was called. But you're actually going to be able to play uh, over the internet against other people.
It says, Dokapon Kingdom Connect. Yeah, it's like takes like the Tetris Effect type deal, where it's playing against a bunch of different people. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that coming out, and we're all gonna have to get it, and we're gonna have to stream it because it's such a fun game, and the whole like I don't have the box here with me; it's out in the living room, but on the back of it, it's like it's talking like the way they sell the game is, hey, this is a fun game to screw over your friends, like, and it's just that's what it is. It's like a board game RPG um combination like Mario Party mixed with like I don't know, like a standard Japanese crazy ass RPG.
Yeah, I mean,
And
I'm down with it. I've never played it, but I know you've talked so many good things about it. Originally came out for the PS2 and the Wii, right?
yep, I do have the Wii version, which for whatever reason, I guess it was short printed. The PS2 version used to be super cheap, and I actually had a sealed copy at one point. I have no idea where the hell it went. Um, but the Wii version, for whatever reason, is worth like almost $200 now just for the disc. And I like it was weird though because I was able to go to GameStop and buy multiple copies of it for 20 bucks and then take it to the other competing local game store that actually knew what the game was worth
Mm-hmm.
and trade those copies in and get a whole bunch of shit.
Mm.
So it was uh it was pretty nice when that happened. I always love those little incidents. And I was able to sell a couple copies on eBay too. I actually the DS version is even more expensive, and I was able to get that for $5 from GameStop. So
Yeah, I'm looking. Yeah, look at this popped up eBay now. Yeah, they're going for some coin. That's for sure.
what's the just for giggles? What's the PS2 version going for now?
Let's see. You were about spot on with that. It's for the Wii one. Yeah, that's anywhere from like opening bids to about 90 or 100 to a couple $100. PS2 looks like you can pick up for that one's going in 100 anywhere from really like 60, 70 to a lot of 150s.
Yeah. See, and
So,
I bought that like sealed for 20 bucks
mm,
for PS2. And like I said, I have no idea where the hell it's at now, but um
I don't know, Rich. I don't know if you have you ever played it.
I have not.
Bob, I don't know if this is a good thing. I'm glad it's popped up Destructoid, and this is a writer. I don't know. Sounds like he hasn't played it, but this is his take. It says it's if like Mario Party and Dragon Quest somehow blended together into a chaotic competition for the throne. Is
yeah,
that
yeah, that's pretty good. It doesn't take itself as seriously as Dragon Quest though.
okay?
It's definitely like one of so you go through and you have a spinner and then you spin it and then you go to different places and you can land on towns, you can land on like kind of like Mario Party where you can land on like event spaces
Hmm.
and land on just plain spaces. And when you land on a plain space, there'll be an enemy there that you got to fight. And it's rock, paper, scissors is basically how you fight. Um, You can do attacks, you can run, you can use magic, you can defend, whatever. But it's so if I know that you're at a spot, I can go to that spot and I can either attack the enemy or I can attack you. And if I beat you, there's multiple different things I can do. Like I could steal your money, I could steal an item, I could steal a weapon, I could steal if you have a town, I could steal your town, or I could change your name to anything I want, or I could change your hairstyle. And one of the hairstyles that you can change it to is literally a coil of shit. Bed. So it's obviously a very mature game. But
No, I mean that's I mean I'm down for any of those type. I've always loved like the Mario Party type games. So,
but yeah,
it's always so much fun.
Like now, honestly, if they would just come out with Fortune Street for the Switch, I'm done. That's all I need. I just need Fortune Street and Dokapon Kingdom. I've been begging for the two of them for years. So give me those. I've already got Worms for it now. So that's all the multiplayer games I need.
Yeah, Bob's got Worms.
Yeah, I got Worms.
Again?
I'm taking pills for it, but
Man, I thought you got rid of those.
Yeah, I did, but I found one of those hams in the trash can again, and I ate it, and I needed health.
Yeah, +3 to health, -2 to, or no, +2 to poison.
But yeah, that was super exciting when I found that out, and it's going to be real. I don't know if we'll be able to buy it in stores or if we have to order it from Idea Factory from their website. It's going to be on sale for $50. So, and they're doing a limit. It's probably going to be a limited release because the website says you can only buy two per household.
Well, hopefully it doesn't go through limited run. You might get it 2 or 3 years from now.
No. It's not going to be limited run this time.
Can I download it? Do they have downloads?
Oh, I'm sure it'll be on the eShop. Yeah,
virtual.
Yeah, that's most likely what I'll end up doing. Now, speaking of that, I actually downloaded the Switch Sports update, played a little bit of golf. Bob, have you tried that yet?
Dude, I haven't played Switch Sports. Oh no, I did. I played it once and I got interrupted. Peyton and I were playing it and got interrupted, and that's a story for off air. But aside from that, I hadn't played it since we played it at Hollywood's wedding.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I downloaded the golf. It's pretty cool. It's very reminiscent of the Wii version, but a little more detailed. A lot more detail with the kind of clubs you can use. The courses look nice. The hard part's keeping the stupid Joy-Con, kind of in a straight line and hitting with like perfect. Like you've got to be like almost dead on, or it'll go one way or the other. So it's seems to be really easy to play, very difficult to master. I don't know, a lot of hand-eye coordination.
Yeah.
But played that. I played a lot of some classic like Super Nintendo type stuff. Lately, I actually was playing I think I sent you the NBA Jam thing.
Yeah.
So I played some Tournament Edition, several games of that the other night, and forgot about some of these secret characters. Like the Beastie Boys are secret characters.
See, I remember the Beastie Boys. I remember like some of the names and some of the people. I don't know if I just completely forgot that he was in it, but when you showed me that Randall Cunningham was a secret character, I thought it was some kind of ROM hack.
Yeah, no, it's just I went down the list. I was like, I want to find like the actual secret, because I couldn't remember. I remember from like the regular NBA Jam, but not the Tournament Edition one of who was in it. So it was really cool. So and I'll quickly run it down. Like whenever you're entering your initials in, you just have to do it in a certain pattern, holding a certain button, and that's how you unlock these secret characters. And then basically you can put them on any team. So played that. Played some Home Alone 2 for the Super Nintendo. You guys ever play that game?
No.
Okay, so it's so far the only game I've still ever found that you can get sucked up by Sentinel vacuum cleaners and crushed by Sentinel luggage. Like it just jumps around up and down like the coat bags, and like you have luggage that like is all by itself. It's just not. You're constantly getting chased by these crazy like people in the hotel. It might be the strangest game I've ever played.
So what you don't know is it's actually a crossover with Casper, and that's Casper moving the bags around.
It could be. I'm telling you, if you guys have never played it, find the ROM and it is and for the Super Nintendo. I don't know. I remember it being different for the Genesis, but it is one of the strangest games I've ever played. It continues to be one of the strangest games. My kids get a kick out of it because it's so weird. It's just it's a difficult game. It's got that Nintendo hardness to it. So,
well, that's something I'm gonna have to talk to you guys about off there. Is I finally downloaded a torrent client, and I realized I thought I was setting up my EverDrives, and I thought I had the complete SNES ROM set for the US, and I don't. So I need to get that. But that's something that I don't know if it's good or bad that it stopped. But do you guys remember back in the day during the SNES and Genesis days, how games would come out? It would be the same game, like same name, but because they were using different developers, sometimes you would get two radically different games. It would be like the SNES version of Jurassic Park was an isometric, top down. I don't even know what the fuck you want to call it. And then you would go to the Genesis one, and it's like a side-scrolling platformer, And then there was like with the SNES one, was it Jurassic Park 2, where like they kind of started to do the same thing as the Genesis version, but it was weird, and there was like you had to go to these side-scrolling sections, and it didn't tell you where the entrances or exits were, and you would have to go to like a space between bushes and press up or down. And then like the differences between the Disney games those are like most famously, if you grew up playing Aladdin on the Genesis, you thought Aladdin on the Genesis was the best. If you grew up playing Aladdin on the SNES, you thought that one was the best. But come to find out that the Genesis developers actually were working with Disney, and it's the more accurate version. Like it has,
well, the animation's better. But,
yeah. The Genesis one to me is superior. And it's for the most part the only thing that I feel like Genesis did better than Super Nintendo is sports games, and that's just I don't know why it is, but that seems to be the consensus from most people who played sports games is that Genesis did all the sports games better, and Aladdin, and then Super Nintendo did everything else better.
Yeah, I can see. I think we've talked about the Aladdin difference before, and I mentioned Home Alone. Those games are different too. In fact, if I recall correctly, I could be wrong on this, but the first game is so different from the Super Nintendo to the Genesis to even PC. Like that's the other thing too. Like because you had PC releases of these games as well. That's a whole nother animal typically, because you have yet again generally another maybe might even be the same companies. Might be a different company, but different developers, different programmers, and an error back then, not only talking about your hardware differences you're dealing with, but like the PC stuff. I mean, then it's like, it was kind of a crapshoot.
Mega Man for DOS.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing. Like,
have you guys ever seen that?
Let me look up an image because I don't remember. I want to say I probably played it.
Oh, dude, it's so fucking bad.
Oh yeah, I did play this, and it is terrible. Oh, that had to come off of like. That looks like a really crappy version of Commander Keen,
right? That's exactly what I thought when I saw it. I was like, "Get the fuck out of here with this shit."
Yeah, I remember that. I don't know. That's what I mean. I don't know if that looks familiar now. I don't know. I thought I played it. Maybe not. Wow, that's crazy. Huh.
Rich, what were you going to say?
Just recently I got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles tournament fighters for the Genesis and the Super Nintendo, and they're completely different too. Like they got rid of all of the story mode stuff for the Genesis ones, so it's just a one-on-one fighter. And the graphics and the controls are bad on both of them, but the graphics are like much worse on the Genesis than they are
Oh,
on the
yeah.
Super Nintendo.
Yeah, I remember playing it, like renting that after I forget where I played the Super Nintendo version, and then I rented the Genesis version thinking it would be somewhat similar. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Like there was characters that they made up just for the game that were like they were just terrible. Like the whole game was terrible. And that was they put all of them in the Cowabunga collection.
Yes.
And they put the NES version in there too, didn't they?
Yes,
Which
they did.
again, completely different from the other two versions.
Yeah, I don't have that one because that's rare and super expensive. I don't want to spend the money for it.
It's funny. We're thinking about some of these old games. It reminded me of this one. And I don't know, again, I was a PC gamer, computer gamer, I should say. The first, I remember playing games really early on. As far as like my actual, some of my core memories, my parents had a Amiga 1000. So this was back 86, 87 timeframe, 88-ish. But there was a game that was released. It was released for the Commodore, also released for the Amiga, called Superstar Ice Hockey. It was released in 87. For the Amiga, I believe it was released in 88. And I've always remembered that game because it obviously came around the same time as Ice Hockey for the NES, which is a very iconic game. But this is, to me, a classic example of the difference in PC games or computer games to console games back then. I'm just going to read a quick line about what Superstar Ice Hockey could do. It said the game was notable for its player creation and development system. The game used trade points as a measure of value when creating new players, trading players, and running team practices. Players also aged as their skills declined, the most noticeable being speed. And think about Ice Hockey for the NES at the time.
Yeah.
You could pick 3 different size players.
That medium. Yeah, that was, dude. Well, and the other thing, the time frame from when shit got released in Japan to when it finally came to the States was, I mean, now it's unthinkable with the amount of time that it took. It would take 3-4 years for some games to get released in Japan before they got released in the States.
Mm-hmm.
So even like that game came out, you said like 87, 88.
87 was the initial release date. I don't know about the I think the Amiga was maybe a year later.
Well, Ice Hockey was essentially, I mean, it wasn't a black box game because it came, I remember buying that game. Going to
that was
Cowboy.
released in 88 as well.
Yeah. Oh, that was 88?
Mm-hmm.
I was going to, okay. I thought that was 85 because I was going to say, even, okay, well, that makes, that kills that argument.
Yeah. Well, but I know what you're talking about, though. There were games that released, it seemed to take like maybe 6 to 12 months, maybe for the most part in some of those games.
Mario 3 came out in 89 87.
I don't know, Rich. Do you know the release date on that off the top of your head? Come on.
No, not off the top of my head.
Come on.
Let me see. When did
Yeah, it shows you're right. It shows a Famicom release of 88. And then an NES release in wow, this is crazy. The North American 1990, and then a PAL version 91. So yeah, you got some time between there.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like it used to be this for some games, a big time jump, and that's why it was crazy back in the day. I remember hearing like rumors. You would hear the playground rumors about games and stuff like, oh, this game's coming out in Japan, and it's got this, and this. No way. Oh yeah, and remember everybody had that one kid at school was like, oh yeah, I got an uncle that works for Nintendo, and this is coming out. Or you'd hear like with Mortal Kombat and with Street Fighter and stuff, the rumors about the different characters and different stuff you could do. Like if you waited an extra 3 seconds before you pulled off a fatality, it would be a babality and it would turn them into a baby, and then eventually they put that into the game.
Mhm.
Stuff like that, where or like the famous one which I always see online, and we were a little bit older, and so I don't think that we really heard this one too much, but for the original Pokemon games, there was a rumor that if you pushed a certain truck, you could get Mew, who was a character that you literally could not obtain in the game. Like, you had to get it through a special distribution event. But like, there was all those old rumors and urban legends about different games. For the longest time, I thought the negative worlds in the original Super Mario Brothers was fake, and then lo and behold, that was actually a real thing.
Right. I'm actually kind of curious on a question of both of you guys. What some of the things that have come up lately are price points on games. So you see things like you have this phenomenal extra whatever version of a typical game that would be, you know, 50, 60, $70 now is running 100, 100 and a quarter. And I'm talking for like your typical EA releases, or, things like that. So I was curious because I looked up the price point of Super Mario 3 when it was released. Do you guys know what that was off the top of your head?
When it was released, it was probably $60.
It's $49.99,
$49.
right? So, and I threw into an inflation calculator just out of sheer curiosity. Now, same inflation calculator I've used for years and years and years. So whether it's right or wrong, but would show up as about $111 in today's day.
Well, I remember buying Street Fighter 2 for the Super Nintendo when it came out. It was $70.
$70. Yep, I did the same thing. I bought MK2, and it was $70.
Yeah, I remember going to. All right, so going to Caldor again. Going to Caldor on Mantua Pike, and with a with a fucking bucket of nickels from the casino, because my mom gave me that for my birthday, and going in there to buy Street Fighter 2 Special Champion Edition for the Genesis. Walking up, all right, I got $70 in nickels. Here you go. I want to buy it. And not only did they look at me like I was a fucking idiot, they go, "Yo, kid, that's $90." Because that was the thing too, is we started bitching and complaining because games went up to $60 or $70 now. But back in the day, you would get games and they would come out at $100.
The problem with a game coming out for $70, $80 today, though, is they're pressed onto a CD, and what's on the CD is not what you're playing. It just lets you download it off the web.
Well, no.
The reason why games were $70 back then is because we went through chip shortages. There were processors inside of some of the other games. There was reasons for them to be $70. A CD is not worth $70.
No, I agree, and that's the thing. Like, that's what when we would get those games. You think about games like Star Fox that had the what you call it, the FX chip on it.
Mm-hmm.
The what the fuck was it called? Was it a
What?
Super FX chip? Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was the Super. Yeah, Super. It was
Yeah. So you would have these extra like Richie said, these extra processors. Virtual Racing for the Genesis came in a bigger cartridge. Like, remember the EA cartridges were different shaped. That was just different shapes so they get away from having to pay Sega the royalties for the actual cartridge.
The Virtual Racing one had extra stuff in there to make it work. It was another chip inside of it.
Yeah.
And then we had these guys.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
$200 when they came out.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Like, back in the day, there was
for the people that can't see this because we're not showing it's a Neo Geo AES cartridge.
Yeah.
This is the Japanese one, though, because I can't afford the American ones. That's not true. I can afford them. I'm just not buying.
Well, those were essentially like miniaturized PCB boards for arcade cabinets, correct?
Yes, they were.
So, there was a lot of technology in that, just like with cartridges. There was a lot of technology. And now, Tom, I don't remember, Richie, were you on when we were talking about the new Call of Duty that came out and it didn't even have the game on it?
No.
It literally
it was 100. I believe we figured out that it was like 150 gig download.
Yeah. It was like
It was some
150 gig download.
bizarrely large download that was larger than what most people could fit on their systems.
Yeah.
Right. And it was literally the license for the game was all that was on the disc. And so that's when we were talking about game preservation and that kind of stuff. Like
I bought a DuckTales game for the PS3 that literally it was an empty. Well, it wasn't case. It was a case that had a pin inside of it and a download code.
That's
the
Tommy,
DuckTales remastered, right?
We've talked about this a couple times. This stupid thing that's never going to get released. The Tommy Talrico machine.
The Amiico.
Oh,
yes,
their games. Yeah.
Dude,
yes.
He has been suing people. He sued Pat the NES punk for some kind from all kinds of shit like defamation and shit because he was talking shit on it.
Did you see Pat did a Christmas video that came out last week, which as of this recording was 3 weeks after Christmas.
Yeah.
4 weeks after Christmas. Yeah. And that was all about the Amiico. And
that's what I just saw that, and that was
shelled for it. Yeah.
We've never specifically trashed it here, but the concept is the same as what you're saying.
Right.
You know, they're releasing the idea was to release game cards with basically codes that you could go download the games, which is
the best thing is I think 8 of them came out already.
They already came out with the fucking cards and sold them, and you had to buy a multiple of them.
Yeah, you couldn't just buy one; you had to buy like a 4-pack of games. I think there's 2 4-packs. Yeah,
and the games that came out were just versions of fucking free to play.
They never came out. The games don't exist. They physically. I mean, there's theoretically, if it ever comes out, you use an NFT card to whatever, but there's no game. It's
right.
That's so insane.
And they're never going to.
I think they came with coins. I think it was like a coin and a NFT card inside of
you get a lenticular card and you get a fucking coin. And the games. Some of the games hadn't even they don't exist, like Richie said, and some of them are free to play mobile games. Tommy Talarico has gone out and sued was it Ars Technica because they actually ran a legitimate article with the SEC filings for what the system was, what the tech specs were, and it was like an old 2015 or 2016 budget Android phone essentially. And he got pissed off because they published this article with the accurate information of what the system was running on.
Which is to be expected because a lot of the games that the thing was going to play weren't going to be anything special anyway.
Right.
Weren't they gearing for supposedly like a retro type thing?
Right. Well, no, it was supposed to be retro is part of it, but it was and because the Switch exists, it makes it even funnier. It was supposed to be a family-friendly video gaming experience.
Oh yeah.
And they came out. Yeah, he came out and he was talking shit on the Switch and saying how there's rape and shit on the Switch, and
it was also supposed to be like $200 less than it's supposed to be costing now when it finally comes out. Like the cost of it got bloated.
The fucking thing's never coming out.
I know. Yeah.
It's never coming out. It's the biggest piece. Do you guys remember the Phantom? Was that vaporware system that was supposed to come out, and it was
the Chameleon too.
And then the Chameleon, which was it used the Jaguar shell,
Jaguar case, yeah,
and then they put a Super Nintendo inside it.
One of them was it was a video card inside of it.
Oh, that's what it was. It was a video card inside it that was outputting a signal, but it was not playing an actual fucking game.
Oh yeah.
It was just like it was like pre-recorded, and that's what the Amiico in the one tech demo they did where they were showing him play it. He was like, "Oh, I inverted the controls." No, he fucking didn't invert the controls. It was so fucking laggy that he had to say he inverted the controls because the character was moving opposite direction of what he was actually doing with the controller. He's a piece of shit, man. Tommy Talarico is a piece of shit.
Yes.
And all these online dudes are fucking sucking his dick, thinking that he's that this is going to be the second coming of the Wii.
Oh no!
If you talk shit on it, they're talking shit on you and trashing you, and it's the dumbest shit ever, man. It's so fucking stupid.
And I just think it's hysterical because, look, from my youth anyway, I just know him as a video game composer. I don't know him any other than that.
He did the Earthworm Jim soundtrack.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I know him. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I don't know.
Oh, and then he was on that Judgment Day. I guess he maybe did a couple of shows, but he was on that G4 network when it finally came out for a while.
Well, wasn't he was on it like back in the original though?
Early days, yeah.
Yeah, and like he was pretty cool, and then all of a sudden this shit happened, and now he's just like this. I mean, maybe he was always a douchebag, but he's just really letting his douche flag fly.
Well, here we go again on that. You know what? He's given us many minutes of content over the last couple of years. So
yeah, we should thank him. Yeah, thanks, Tommy.
Yeah, his payment to us should be a free Amiico to each of us.
Yeah, yeah. If/when it ever comes out, because it never is going to fucking see the light of day.
I don't want one.
I don't fucking want one either. It's what am I going to do with it? Fucking use it as a doorstop?
I don't know. I think we could have some fun with it.
Well, yeah. I mean, we could probably figure out something to do with it, but I guess
I came close to picking up one of those VCS consoles that came out with way overpriced because they were on clearance for a while too. They were supposed to be. That was that one where it was put out by whoever owns Atari right now.
Mm-hmm.
And originally you're supposed to be able to stream stuff and all this other weird shit, and then it finally came out and it was basically an Android tablet inside of a box. But you could sideload Linux or RetroPie on it. So I was just going to turn it into a RetroPie box that connects to the TV.
Yeah, I wanted one of those. I almost signed up for the Kickstarter, and then I didn't do that. I wanted an Amiico just because I wanted to support it and I wanted it to be good. That turned out to be a fucking turd in a box. Like all this stuff that seems so fucking cool, it's just I don't know. It all ends up failing, and it sucks because I really wanted to succeed.
Talking about the Amiga earlier, and I never had an Amiga, but my first computer was a Commodore 64, and they just came out. A group of people just put out a brand new board that's all modern. It's basically a brand new Commodore 64. But it's got like mods on it where you could put 2 SID chips, so you have stereo sound on it, which you never had on the original Commodore. It's got all kinds of fancy cleaner output for the video. And people found just like we mentioned the Coleco Chameleon was a Jaguar case. That's because somebody found the it was like they bought the molds for the Jaguar. Somebody found the molds for the Commodore C64, which was the one that came out when the 128 came out. It's like a sleeker version of the Commodore. So they are making new molds of the cases too. So people are buying this new board and putting it inside of a clear case with a brand new keyboard, like new mechanical switches, and they're real sexy. But for like a fully kitted out one, it's like $700.
Yeah, thanks.
I have a Commodore 64 sitting over there that I spent $60 on, and it works just as well.
Could you replace that board with a new one?
I could if I wanted to, but it works fine. So there's no reason to do that. But with this new board though, you can get people really like their Commodore sound because they have these. It's called the SID chip. It's I think it's like 4 channels, and they're even at the time they were super advanced sound things. Like when you it was bigger in England than it was in the U.S., but people would do what they call demos, where it was just you could see how small you could get the program to be, and it was basically just graphics and sound that were awesome. With this new one, the guy that made the board also made 2 audio add-on boards. One of them is dual vacuum tube amp for your Commodore 64. He tweaks it per board, and I think he puts like a dozen hours of burn-in time on it. It's $1,000 just for the tube board.
Fuck.
Yeah,
dude. Did you ever
on YouTube build one? It's awesome.
Did you ever grab the C64 Mini that came out?
No, because I have a Commodore 64.
Well, no, I just didn't know.
I
knew you liked the Commodore 64, so I didn't know if you ever grabbed one.
I started with an SD to IEC thing. So basically, you plug it into your thing, and it emulates a disk drive, so you don't have to have a disk drive. And then they came out with this thing where it's similar, but it's got a Raspberry Pi, or you add a Raspberry Pi to it, so it emulates it perfectly. Because there's a couple of things that are a little wrong with the other thing. But no, once I had that and everything else, I was set.
And
Go
did you
ahead.
see the My Arcade Atari that's coming out?
Yeah, let me look that up. Let's see.
I heard a story about it. I don't know if I looked it up or not.
So it looks really cool.
My Arcade. No, hold on a second. Oh, I mean, yeah, My Arcade. Are you talking about? Hold on, I think I found it.
It's the 50th anniversary, 70th anniversary one, 50th.
Oh, is it the handheld?
No. So there's it's got
it's a console. I see it.
Yeah.
Oh, they announced a handheld along with this. Okay,
Yeah.
That's what I was misreading. Okay.
Yeah. So that looks really cool. Depending upon what the price point is, I might look into that. But I thought that looked pretty cool.
Yeah, they announced 3 different things at the same time. My Arcade, Atari Game Station Plus, which is like
the Atari Game Station Plus.
That's the console, and then they also announced a Pocket Player, which is a handheld.
Yeah.
And then they also announced a micro player, like a little tabletop arcade, but it looks like it's very tiny.
Yeah, you're looking at the same thing that I just sent you guys. I picked up actually, I think I got it when on clearance, but I got the Neo Geo Mini arcade thing. It's too small to actually play on. Like, it looks nice and it's kind of cool. I think it has HDMI out, but at that point, you might as well just pick up an emulator or something along those lines.
Well, there was one that was sold for a while at GameStop, and I waited and it finally went on clearance, and I went to get it, and I must have missed it by like 5 minutes. But it was like it was the Neo Geo X.
Yes. Yeah, they're cool.
Yeah, I wanted to grab that, but
little handhelds that have a dock, and it's supposed to be nice. They started out with problems, but then they updated the firmware and everything. I think worked out well at the end. I think they're expensive now.
Oh, they are. They're super expensive now. But
I was gonna say, as it came out over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
There was a point where I could have gotten it for like $50, and like literally on the way to the store, somebody bought the last one.
Before I moved here, so it was a while ago. At local game store, Next Level Games in Blackwood, they got in on the same day a Neo Geo AES console and a Neo Geo CD console, and I had enough money to buy one of them, and I picked the AES, and that was a mistake because I could have burned the CD games myself, and the Neo Geo AES games, when you can find them, are still super expensive.
Yeah.
Tisk.
Yeah. Well, that's what we get for being nerds and picking a hobby that apparently everyone and their mother has decided to join in on.
Well, I was talking to somebody else about that. Just collecting in general stopped being fun when COVID started because everything jumped up super high in price, and it's just, I don't want to spend that. Like a year ago was half that.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Or even a quarter. Like I said, I bought the PS2 version of Dokapon Kingdom for $20 sealed, brand fucking new. And now it's selling for ridiculous amounts of money. It's just
on the plus side, when my DVD or my Blu-ray surround system decided to break at the beginning of COVID, I took my copy, and part of me wishes I kept them, but I took Fire Emblem, whatever the GameCube one is, Chibi Robo, and Paper Mario, and traded them in. Was able to go buy a brand new Sony $900 Ultra surround sound thing.
Yeah,
so okay there. I felt okay with that.
And that was the system I was just going to bring up. Is like, I love the GameCube. It's one of my favorite systems of all time. But it's become so ridiculously expensive to collect.
I put a ODE optical drive emulator in it. So, and then I sold like every game I had for it almost, except for I think I kept Killer 7 because I really liked it. It's not even that expensive. I just thought it was a fun game.
That was a cheap game.
I have a Batman game that's signed by Lori Petty and Malcolm McDowell because they did voices for that. It was a Batman animated series cartoon. It's I can't get to it right now. No, it's like something Apocalypse. It's from the Superman the animated series. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because Lori Petty did Livewire and Malcolm McDowell was Metallo.
I like Malcolm McDowell.
He's cool.
Yeah,
he does everything. He just like whatever you want to pay.
Yeah. I don't know. He's fun. I like him. No, I you're right though, Bob. You said it, and Rich, you said it too. I mean, it's just not fun. Everything's so you're priced out of it. Not that I was much on a collector anyway. I unfortunately I sold a lot of what I had at a very bad time. When it was worth nothing. If I would have kept it, but I did keep a lot of stuff. I still have, my original Nintendo with a handful of games. I still have, newer consoles that I kept, pretty much everything from PS2 and up. I never got rid of any of that. A lot of it's just in storage. For me, I don't really have, much in the way of titles, so that's my problem is like, and I'm not going to go seek them out.
I don't have any of the games that's not true. I have a couple boxes that my mom saved for Nintendo games, but the games weren't in them. But I do have the Nintendo that we had growing up that I put a new
72-pin connection.
Thank you. Yeah, I forget.
I've got to do that with mine. Mine's basically stopped working at this point.
Yeah, they're you can get them off Amazon for like $20.
Yeah, it's one of those things I just never think about.
I have a top loader and I don't use it because I like the like I said, I have the other one.
Yeah, it's I don't know. But you're both right. I mean, it sucks. It's like, look, everyone and the brother got into it. COVID hit then, and it's just ridiculous. I mean, Bob, when we've you and I have talked about it, and we all have on here over time. There should be no reason why I'm seeing some of this crap go for $300-400.
See, I wish I could sell more, but I have a hard time getting rid of stuff like the GameCube stuff. Like I had a GameCube growing up for like 2 weeks, and I played I think a Godzilla game on it. That was about it. So I had no problem getting rid of as soon as I got that optical drive emulator, like here, take these. And then I got the EverDrive for the Nintendo 64, and I sold all my non-box 64 games. So I don't have the box and manual for these. They're just taking up space. I'm never going to use them. Have at them.
Yeah, that's like, and you look at some of the crazy stuff too. The price points of some of these peripheral things, like the Amiibos. It's just insane. They're not even that old, and a lot of them are going for this insane.
I just put all mine in a tracker app, and I was surprised at the prices.
Yeah.
I remember driving to a very scary place in Philadelphia to get it, but I got the Mega Yarn Yoshi, and that thing goes for like $200 now.
Yeah,
it's just crazy.
Peyton has the Poochie Yarn Amiibo, and that one.
I had that too when I opened it.
He opened his too.
A little bit, yeah.
But
I opened all my Amiibos except for the Yarn Yoshi.
That one's worth a chunk. I ended up just selling mine before I moved.
Yeah.
Because I had them all. I mean, they were all open. There was a point where I had like a ton of them still in their boxes and still on their whatever. And the girl I was dating at the time was like, yeah, so because I was planning on moving in with her. And she's like, yeah, so I don't have anywhere for your toys. You're gonna need to get rid of them. And I, like a dumb fuck, sold them all and got like nothing for them. And if I had just held on to them, I could probably.
I don't have any that are worth much of anything. But I do have one I like. I think it's the only one I kept in a box. Is the Diablo Loot Goblin.
Nice.
I have him. He's around here somewhere.
Yeah, that's the only one I really like. Other than that, I have I've several of the Breath of the Wild ones, which go for some money, but of course they're not boxed.
I like the Persona games. When they came out with the Joker from Persona, I grabbed him, and he's going for a little bit now too for some reason.
Yeah.
I used to have all the Fire Emblem ones.
A Sephiroth one just came out, and I was debating picking that up.
Nice.
I haven't got it yet, but I was thinking about it.
Nice. Yeah.
I had all the Fire Emblem ones. I had all the Breath of the Wild ones, except for the Guardian.
I have that one.
I have that out too.
And then I had
mine's still in the box. I didn't open up that one.
I had
It
all
looked
the
better in the
Mario
box 'cause there was
ones.
like a background behind it and shit. It's really cool. I have Detective. He's not in the box, but I have Detective Pikachu. He's like a larger one.
Yeah.
He's cool.
I had my favorite one, and I should never have gotten rid of it. It was Toad, but somewhere in transit, his head came off, and it was just bouncing around in the box. I called him Decapitoad, and I should have kept it, but I got rid of that. There was a dead Pikachu variant that I found at Target once. I took a picture of. He wasn't obviously really dead, but he came out of the little like blister thing, and he was just laying on his side. I thought about getting that one, but it's crazy too how some of the misprints and stuff that came out early on. Like there was the Samus that had
Two
two arm
blasters.
cannons, and there was there was a Peach. I think it was a Princess Peach or a Zelda one where the like it was missing a leg or something like that, and it was like $400 or $500 or something like that. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just a wild, like, I don't know.
You were talking about selling stuff. When I was living in Collingswood, I wanted to learn how to make Apple games. And at the time to do that, you had to have an Apple PC or an Apple computer. So I sold some comic books to buy an Apple computer. And the comic books I sold were the first appearance of the Punisher, X-Men 94. There was a first Showcase Comics 22, which was the first Hal Jordan Green Lantern. Now, the first couple of pages were missing the bottom corners of them, but it didn't affect the story. Now, I got like $3,000 for them when I sold them, but had I had them today, just that Green Lantern one, like even in the condition that it was like a $6,000 or $7,000 comic book.
Of course.
Jesus.
But you don't know that. Like it's you got like
Right.
you know that when you're selling it. So yeah, I got rid of a pile of Magic cards too. I mean, I got more than I spent on all this stuff, so I can't really complain. But had I held on to some of the Magic cards I sold too, for some reason they jumped up super high.
Yeah, those first and second runs of those things,
Yeah.
man. My goodness. Ridiculous.
I had a hologram Charizard Pokemon card.
I had a couple of them too, but I don't know if they were the first editions or not.
Mine was.
Yeah.
I sold all of my Pokemon cards, including that one, for $100. And now I could basically buy a car with that card.
Yeah. Well,
I kept my Snatcher, so I still have that.
Kept your Snatch?
Snatcher. For the
Snatch?
Sega CD. I think that's still the most expensive game I own, and it's only like $1,500. Not counting arcade games. I guess my Tron's the most expensive game I own.
If the if the holographic first edition Charizard, now ungraded, they're going right now for like $2-3 grand. But if it was a graded 10,
it's like 200 or 500,000.
300 grand. Yep.
Yeah.
Celebrities were buying them for a while, like that Jake Paul guy and some other people were buying that. Kind of jacked the price up on them for a little bit.
Yeah. So
cards, I'm sure.
Oh, is that what you call it now?
It was a good card.
Well. Well,
Jesus.
On that note, go Birds.
Go Birds. Fuck the Niners.